Welcome back. You're now watching the political segment on The Weekend Show. Not fewer than 19 political parties have indicated interest to contest in the November 16, 2024 elections in Ondo State. Now, we had very serious elections in Nigeria in February and March 2023, which we keep on saying elections have repercussions and impact. The people of Ondo State are ready to go into another electoral cycle to elect who becomes the next governor of the state. It's quite an interesting and almost unfortunate situation in the state as they lost the governor in recent time due to a prolonged illness, and our heart goes to his family and wish them grace to see through this time. However, the deputy governor has now been inaugurated as governor. What are the chances? We've seen the likes of Jimoh Ibrahim, who people have stated may be contesting. We've also seen the fact that the current governor will be running in this election. And so with primaries taking place and elections in November, what do we anticipate? How do we see that going? And we'll be having that conversation on the political segment today. Joining us in the studio, we have
Yusuf Liadi-Abiodun, who is the Chief Executive Officer, I Lead Africa. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on the show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
So what are your expectations for the Ondo State governorship elections?
Okay, my expectation from the INEC, my expectation from the citizen of Ondo State, and my expectation from the Nigeria. Starting with the expectation of the INEC, I believe by now INEC should be ready to conduct the elections according to the section 178 of the Nigerian Constitution, nothing less than 150 days or 30 days, or 30 days at least should be the, INEC should be announced the new date for the election when we are going to have a gubernatorial elections. So, and by now, in terms of technical aspect and human capacity, INEC should be ready to conduct a free and true elections. And also from the citizen, I believe right now we should have our voters card. We should get ready to vote and elect the new governor. And, it's also part of what we need to be getting ready for to monitor the credibility of election, because it's the duty of the citizen to ensure that we have a transparent and credible elections. So it's beyond only going to the poll to vote. We must ensure that we go to the poll to vote and also monitor the vote to ensure that it's credible and it's transparent.
The last elections were quite consequential in the sense that we saw a lot of things we wouldn't have seen before. So you have a Labour Party governor, Alex Otti. You have some people like Tinubu losing in strongholds such as Lagos and winning in other states. You had the likes of Peter Obi, who people never expected to do as well, going for to contest. But at the end of the elections, you had some people say, oh, INEC determines who wins elections. You have some people say, oh, it's the judiciary. And then you still have some people say, it's the people. Do you still think that Nigerians still have trust in the electoral system in Nigeria, or does it still lie in the hands of a selected few political class?
Yeah, the first thing we need to know is in a democratic state, there's no how a party or an institution can decide who will win the elections. So is the citizens' right, the citizens' vote that will be counted. So what we need to do is to have a rebuilding trust in the system, to believe that we are the one that assigned them to the post, we are the one that give them the duty, and we should always find a way to support them to ensure that we have the best result. So although there are many things that we need to pay attention to when it's come to the election, because election is very critical aspect of democracy. And that is why, in other developed countries, when it's come to the election or during the election time, they deploy the best expertise and leverage on digital technology to ensure the transparency and accountability. And that is what we need to do, especially the INEC, so that we can, build that trust in the citizen. The election process, when it is not transparent, when citizens have the little knowledge about what is going on, there's no way we won't have a kind of that thought or a kind of that issues. And, so they can still correct the wrongdoing, in terms of the BVATs, there's a many information surrounding it. The BVAT is not working in some part of the country. The uploading of results is not tally with the one we have on paper. So all this can lead to citizens lose the interest in the outcome of the elections. And I believe if they can work on this, so subsequent election, we won't have this issue. But we need to know an institution or a person or particular party cannot make decision of the outcome of the election. Though, like I said earlier, there are some aspects of the election we need to work on, which I believe by now, they should have learned from the past event and, make the adjustment in this coming election. And they can use this to, give them a good name.
Okay, we have some guests online to give us their own overview of the situation.
Yes, we have Alan Toure, who is the human rights lawyer and political analyst. And we also have Tunji Abayomi, who is the APC chieftain for Ondo State. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Alan, good morning.
Okay.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, good people of Ondo State.
So we've been talking on the Ondo State governorship elections that are coming up. And our guest in the studio has been speaking a lot about INEC. I want to know, do you think there could be anything different that INEC would do in the coming elections, compared to what they did in the previous elections that led to various court cases, tribunals, and a lot of conflict around the country?
We'll start with you, Abayomi, and then after that we'll hear from Alan.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me, first and foremost?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think there's not going to be a major issue, as I can see. We have increased in sophistication in Ondo State. Naturally, there will be a lot of clatters between competitors and aspirants. But I think by the end of April, there will be a candidate, and obviously the candidate commands the attention of the political party, APC, and then will then compete with the other political parties, and I believe we will win. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Alan,
could
what's your thoughts on the preparedness?
Yeah, good morning. I'll be specific and I will take you through memory lane. You asked specifically that what do we expect differently from INEC this time? And I remember prior to the 2020 election in Ondo State, governorship election in particular, there was a fire outbreak in the office of INEC in Ondo State that we had to go to Oshun or Ibadan to have the card reader replaced completely few days before the election. So I personally, and on behalf of patriotic Nigerians and people of Ondo State, will be calling on INEC to put in place necessary arrangement, including fire services equipment, to ensure that we don't have a repeat of fire outbreak when elections are very close. And we must equally call on INEC to ensure that there are enough security personnel to ensure that those who may want to put fire on INEC or disconnect or connect dangerous electrical mechanism to INEC offices or office are prevented so that we can have a very confidence in the electoral process as we approach the 2024 governorship election in Ondo State.
Okay. Alan, let's speak briefly on some of the interested candidates for this election. The present governor, Governor Lucky, what are his chances? Do you think his incumbency could be a positive factor, towards him probably winning this election, or could he stand, the likes of Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, like Annie mentioned earlier?
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question, and I will take you to the national level, because when Jonathan, who happened to came into power, similar circumstances that it happened in Ondo State, and he actually come from the oil-producing state. We knew what happened. He eventually became the president during the election. So I am not seeing anything different this time around, because like Jonathan, the incumbent is from Ilaje in Ondo State, Ilaje local government. And immediately the governor died, I was sworn in, and this has triggered some kind of sentiment. Here in Ondo State, there is this common saying that the geese that lay the golden egg should be properly taken care of. So it's an opportunity for the oil-rich communities of Ilaja and Ondo to have a taste of leadership. In other words, to preside over the resources that they have been providing for the entire state since 1999, if I don't want to go too far, to 1976, when the state was created. So he has that sentiment on his behalf. Secondly, he's a cool-headed man, somebody who has earned the trust of the late governor. Even before he died, you want to see a video that has been trending where the governor said a lot of good things about him. And again, he has the power of incumbent. We all know many political parties, you don't want to play with the incumbent when they have the opportunity to easily elect him to fly the party flag. The example of those states when APC then screened Obaseki, and they didn't allow him to participate in the primary, and you know what happened? So I don't think APC want to go that hard line this time. So the incumbent has a lot of advantage to himself, and I'm hoping that if he harnesses all this opportunity, it will be a tall order for any other aspirant within the APC to grip or get the party ticket from him. I want to compare that to what Jesus Christ said in the Bible, that it will be easier for the camel to pass through the eyes of the needle than for anybody to take away the party ticket from the incumbent.
Okay, I want to bring in Tunji Abayomi. Elections are about the people as well. Do you think the APC has been able to win the confidence of the people? And what should be the main talking points in this election for Ondo State?
Well, in Ondo State, APC is a dominant party, and it has always been so. If we look at the governors, the past governors, the history of politics in Ondo State, basically Ondo State is a progressive. So there's nothing is going to change, in my view. If we look at the senatorial zones, basically the North Senatorial Zone and the Central tend to move towards the progressive, and the South Senatorial, where the governor is going to come, is divided. So I think APC is going to win in Ondo State. With regard to the personalities, I think we just have to wait, because Allen has spoken about about the current governor. Yes, he has advantage in the sense that he's sitting on the chair. But Jimoh Ibrahim is a senator. Wale Akinterewa has been in politics in Ondo State, maybe from the beginning for quite a while, and he was in the last governorship, last government. Olushola Oke has had structure, has contested. So we simply have to wait to see whose advantage will gain advantage over advantages of others. And that's what's going to happen during the primary. It's just another one, a little bit over a month. So, but in terms of our party, political party, I think I'm somewhat confident. It is true that APC is facing some challenges arising from the economy, but you can also see the stature of the government at the national level is moving, I think, generally in a satisfactory manner. One thing that I think is good and people consider positive is the fact that the government itself reducing the cost of government. And I have always complained that a lot of our wealth is spent maintaining governments of the Federation. It is noteworthy and commendable that the president is moving towards reducing even the cost of presidency and generally the cost of government. So with regard to APC, I believe we will win in Ondo State.
So besides winning, Abarami, once again, what do you think the people of Ondo State want? So in Nigeria, we talk about security, we talk about the economy, we talk about employment, we talk about food security.
Health.
In Ondo State or health, what are the
think two
people
things are-
asking for in the state? What do you think the candidates should focus on?
Two things are paramount in the thinking, maybe I say ontological thinking of our people. Economy. Our people have always been, it has always been important to our people, their capacity to manage their lives, train their children, be able to feed them, to live a decent life. So economy is very, very vital. And when we are talking of economy now, it's extended to employment, largely, agriculture, which is a primary interest of our people. We have improved on security, but more of that will be needed. As you are well aware, the last governor established Amotekun, which has been functioning effectively and curtailing the mischief of these marauders in the forest who are actually preventing our people from advancing agriculture. Amotekun has been working very hard. So education is crucial, but
I think we've lost your audio, sir. Okay, yeah, we
Okay,
can hear you now.
Yes, sorry, I'm sorry. There was an interrupting some call.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Education is only possible in our time if the economy is strong. So the people will be looking at the government, whosoever is going to be the next governor, to do something good for them in terms of something wonderful, as the song says, in terms of the economy, to lift the people up. There are areas that some of these things laid down by the last government. For example, the road connecting Ilaje to Lagos, the issue of the port, Ondo port. I mean, these are very vital economic advancements that we believe is going to transform our state. So we are looking to develop.
All right, Tunja, I really hope a lot of transformation comes to Ondo State and good leadership, of course. You know, Ondo State holds a special place in my heart because that's where I did my NYSC.
I
And it
did
has
mine in
a,
Ocean State, so we're
really,
neighbors
and it
years
has a
apart.
lot of potential,
Yes.
and job creation will go a long way in that state, particularly being an oil producing state as well.
And we must commend the late governor, Rosemary Keredolu.
Yeah.
He really fought for Amotekun
Yeah.
to be formed, and which has led to the conversation which we have about state positioning. But he was able to stand his ground, and
Yes.
we give them credit. But let's get a final word from Alan before we wrap up in the studio.
Yes. Okay,
Yes,
so
thank you very much.
Alan, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so a hot topic surrounding elections in general in Nigeria has to do with the price of nomination forms. The price of this particular nomination form is 50 million naira, which is really high. Not everyone, could be able to afford that, particularly with the economy we have presently. What do you have to say about that? Is a seat of power just for people with resources, the elites and the high class of society?
Yeah, you may want to blame the political parties that have imposed this very high rate on the aspirant. But again, if you want to look at it critically, the attitude of an average Nigeria, if this party don't impose that kind of high rates, somehow you may see 1,000 people contesting. So sometimes it's like what the hotel or the hotelier do to impose high price on their commodities so that people don't really have business around the hotel, don't come there. So, but I think mainly that as our democratization process progresses, we'll have a better time when a political party will come to the realization that governance should not be for the people who actually have so much money, but the people who have something to offer. But quickly, permit me to make additional elaborate analysis about what the people of Ondo State really want ahead of 2024 election. What we want first and foremost is security. And that's the area where we have inherited from our late governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, which his former deputy, now the governor, has taken over without any difference. He has taken over the management and maintenance of Amateku, if not better. And again, education in Ondo State is our industry. And we have seen the incumbent pumping in 1 billion to some of the state-owned institutions. And again, infrastructure, particularly in the oil-rich region, which has been desecrated by oil exploitation and exploration since oil was discovered in Nigeria. It is an opportunity for the incumbent to ensure that the Ondo South Central District is not abandoned, it's developed. Because like Akeredolu said, he said the wealth of Ondo State is buried in the south, and we must unearth it so that Ondo State can develop. Without developing the southern part of Ondo State, development will be far from us because this is where the main resources and the economic base is based. So, like my senior land colleague said there, if you develop the coastal area to Lagos, whatever Lagos has, Ondo State has doubled in terms of the coast, where you can have a seaport, where you can have a real blue economy, because Ondo State has the longest deep sea that could bat a lot of port and where we can have an economic boom. Instead of everybody going to queue in the hold up in Lagos, if we have a road to the sea in Ondo State, we will be liberated economically. We'll be liberated economically. And the most important point I want to make is that the political shenanigans that tarry during the sickness of our late governor has prompted the incumbent to an epic. And what Ondo State people want, because here, I must confess, people are have pride. They just want to be in charge of their political destiny. So that has brought the people together, and they see his emergence as a kind of liberation. Going back, I must say, it's not going to be welcome. And I challenge anybody who want to associate with that days to ask those who perpetrate the people I call the cabal, to endorse them, and you will hear their result.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much, Alan and Tunji. We will be following this news closely because of time. We'll bring you on after the primaries for your analysis. But thank you so much, Tunji Abayomi and Alan, for your contributions. We'll be keenly watching, and we'll have this conversation as time proceeds. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad one of you did a youth service in Ondo State.
Thank you very much. Let's come to you in the studio for your final words to the young people. Obviously, people between the ages of 18 and 35 are about 64% of the population, and those are the major voters. What's your message to the young voters in the coming election in Ondo State?
All right, thank you. Before I go to that question, let me quickly clarify what one of the statements made by the last speaker. He mentioned that the reason why the political party are giving high price to the cost of nomination is because they don't want people that don't have business to do. They want to reduce the people that will contest. And when we are doing that, it's actually affecting the democracy. One of the beauties of democracy is people should have a freedom of contesting, freedom of being a candidate, have many choices. So when we are now limiting it to people that have the capacity, especially in financial aspect, that means it's very dangerous to the democracy. So we need to find a way or take a drastic action on a political party, reducing and that's one of the message I'm passing to the young people. It is time the young people need to start, take on-ground actions beyond online. Because what they know young people of today, especially in Nigeria, is we are more active online than the physical actions. So it is time for us as a young people to begin to take a physical action and change this narrative. Because where do you expect young people, let me use a fresh graduate to get a 50 million naira? Even if you are a business, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have the capacity of investing or buying a nomination form for 50 million naira, you will rather put back into your business. So that is really affecting the young people. And the reason why they are doing that is they don't want the not too young to come to the past. They just want it to be on the paper. Because they know if you have the age, we reduce the age, but we don't reduce the financial capacity. And that's another issue we need to work on as a young people. So I think we need to take action to ensure that we reduce that. It's actually, because when we are talking about having a credible and fair and true elections, it's begin from have an equal opportunity to contest.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Yusuf Ladeabiodo is the CEO of iLead Africa. Yeah. For young people, like he said, we need to get out of our houses, off our phones, and actually go and vote. Also, we need to speak more about the barrier to entry, which is the high cost of running from political parties who claim they have the structure. It's also a good time to bring back the conversation about independent candidacy. In Senegal, we have a 44-year-old president, and one of the reasons why he could run and win was because they have the option of an independent candidacy. If we need to be honest with ourselves and to ourselves in Nigeria, the National Assembly needs to amend some of its laws to allow everybody run if they are of age and eligible. That's much we can take on the political segment. Do have a happy Easter.
Yes.
And happy Easter to you too.
Happy Easter to you.
We do have more on the weekend show. Don't go away. See you shortly after this break.